Good evening, everyone. This is another edition of the Creators Light Podcast. Our very special guest,
Rob the writer.
Rob the Writer. Thank you so much for being on here.
Oh man, thank you, man. Thank you for inviting me, man. This is a great opportunity.
And no problem at all, no problem at all. So, just for everyone that doesn't know, I came across Rob at an open mic by Michael Dow. He goes by Caribbean Yankee Music on Instagram. He has open mic once a month. And, I was just hearing somebody that enjoys speaking about God, that loves God, Jesus Christ, and understanding just the way the world works when you incorporate God into things, it makes such a big difference. So again, I enjoy having people like him on to motivate and inspire others. So again, thank you so much.
Oh man, appreciate it, man. You ain't got to give me all them accolades.
Hey, I gotta let people know. So just to get everything started, how's your day been, and can you let everyone know where you're originally from?
My day's been awesome, man. I've been chilling with some cool people, knocking out some work, doing what I got to do to keep moving this thing forward. Originally, I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. I ended up joining the military at about 19 because, it wasn't shaking like it was supposed to. Money was light. So from that point, I bounced down to Mississippi. I bounced down to San Antonio, Texas, and I bounced down to Mississippi. And then from there, I got stationed at Shaw Air Force Base. And then I was there for a while. Then I ended up moving up here so I could be closer to my kids.
That's a blessing to hear. And as far as your experience in the military, because I'm prior Navy as well, what are some tips that you would give somebody that looking to, join the military?
I would say go into it with an open mind. Don't have any precognitions of thinking that it's going to be this way or it's going to be that way, because the reality is your experience is dictated by your attitude, your leadership, and your willingness to learn. If you got those three things, you got good leadership, you got a good attitude, and you're willing to learn, everything that you pick up on the military, you can use it outside.
That's great to hear, because I know it's a lot of people who go in, they don't know what to expect, or they just hear a lot of things. So it's great for you to kind of give them that word of advice.
Yeah,
so
man, I went in, expecting a whole bunch of camaraderie and hugging and locking arms and stuff like that. And in the Air Force, it's a bit different. It's more like corporate America, but we all wear the same type of suit. So you still got to act a certain type of way. You still got to mind your manners. You still got to pay a little bit of the politic game, What's it? The respectability politics. You got to talk a certain type of way. You might have to do some code switching, but all the way, it's as long as you sitting up there and you trying to learn and you're not trying to be buddy, you're gonna be okay.
Yep, that's exactly right. I can definitely second you on that. So with that being said, you now being in the DMV area, how has the DMV area treated you as far as just going out places, the food, just different things like that? Like, how has the DMV treated you so far since you've been here?
I mean, honestly, when I first got here, man, COVID was still going on. I've been here about 4 years. So it's I got here 2020, August. And COVID was still going on. So most of DC was it was locked down. I got to experience a little bit of, Crystal City, Chocolate City down that way in the DC area. The food has always been pretty good. I can find pretty much anything I want. I'm a pescatarian, so I don't eat, a lot of different meats. I only eat fish and veggies and fruit and stuff like that. But I can still always find a spot to give me some good grub. Shout out to this girl, Ashley Russell. She's been putting me on mad spots. So it's mad cool.
Well, with that being said, have you tried some mambo sauce on certain things you like to eat? Have you tried that yet?
Man, I ain't been nowhere that got no mambo sauce, man. I've been looking for it because I'm this place is legendary. Where I'm supposed to get this at? So yeah. I'm just trying to figure it out, honestly. I mean, if you got some type of recommendations, the boy is always willing to listen.
Yeah. Hey, DC, this is where y'all check in at right here. But, I like I said, with what you have going on as far as you being a poet, and there's other things that you do as well. Can you tell people about the other things that you have going on outside of being a great writer?
I mean, honestly, I'm trying to start my production company, film, digital art, physical art, even to a point of, I was talking yesterday to a graffiti artist. With that going on, I also write plays and things of that nature. So I'm really just trying to get it to be more focused on art as a broad stroke versus just the artistry of, rapping or spoken word. Like my idea for this is to be able to give people mad opportunities, because where I'm from, we ain't got too many options. You're either gonna try to play ball, you're gonna be a hustler, or you're gonna be working a 9 to 5. But some people like me, I'm a creative. Like that don't always fit. You know what I mean? So you got to be able to show the kids and show some adults sometimes it's a different way. You can move, you just got to know how to move. You got to do it the right way.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. Now I know you mentioned about you have kids, and happy Father's Day to you. I know it's past, but
Thank you.
just as every day is Mother's Day, is Father's Day as well. And we appreciate those who are raising their kids, and being there for them, in those just trying moments when they need a calming voice and just a presence that's going to be there for them. So how do your kids feel about you being a writer and somebody that wants to produce and create? How do they feel about that?
I mean, my oldest, I got a couple videos of her just singing my songs. So she just be singing and she vibing to it. She's 9 years old, so I kind of use her sometimes as a little heat check. Like, oh, is this fire? I put it on in the car and see if she start moving her head. Sometimes she be trying to act like she don't like it. It gets to that age, but I see her moving her head, vibing with it. And my youngest, she'll straight up sing my songs. I'll turn on a beat and she'll start humming a melody to it. Like, they're into it. They really enjoy it. They like the fact that their dad is like, he takes care of us and he also does it in a creative way. Like, I'm showing them that you can knock out a 9 to 5, but you can also pursue your dreams at the same time. And they really like it.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate, what you're saying, because it's a lot of fathers who really don't know any direction of really how to raise their kids because they really weren't taught a lot themselves. So they're only passing down what they didn't get, and then you end up with nothing. So I do want to, mention to you about, do you know, well, you probably don't know him personally, but the basketball player, Jason Tatum. You've heard of him, right?
I think so. He's on the Celtics, right?
Yeah, he's on the Celtics.
Yeah.
And the reason I brought him up is because he said that when he first had a kid, when he knew that he was going to be having a kid, at first he wasn't sure if he really wanted a kid, but then he snapped out of it and realized this is something that's going to be a blessing for me. And to hear you talk about that, it kind of puts me in that mindset of, somebody that you're just ready to be an inspiration for them, because they're going to go to school. Yeah, they're going to be around other kids. But when they come home, and to have you there, it makes all the difference.
You have to know, as a father, you are the first line of love that baby's going to receive. Besides being in their mother's belly, you're going to exemplify what it means to be a male and to show that baby love. And that is going to be reflected in their self-esteem. It's going to be reflected in their behavior, how they act, how they respond to hardship and everything like that. So once you realize that level of responsibility, you have to treat your daughter, you have to treat your son the exact same way that you would want somebody that you don't know to treat your daughter, to treat your son. Like, for me, I don't yell at my babies. I don't curse at them. I try to be calm with them, because I know, real deal, if I saw their boyfriend or something like that talking crazy to them, I'd be ready to draw them. You know what I mean? So when you realize that, you put 2 and 2 together, it's like, okay, well, you got to show them this is what a man's love looks like, when he ain't trying to get nothing from you and it's unconditional,
Yeah, that unconditional love. Glad you spoke on that. So you being a writer, I know you've probably written so much. Do you remember the first piece that you written and what inspired that?
Honestly, I think it's 2 songs. There was this song by Tyga when I was younger, and it was like he was Godzilla or something, like he's Tyzilla or something like that. And I was just like, this beat is nuts. And I just used to listen to it over and over and over. And I used to just like, do my little freestyle joints to it. Like, then I was like, bro, that's dope. Let me go ahead and start writing that down type vibes. And then one of the greatest inspirations that I say to where I am now as far as being a writer, and whatnot like that, I would say Wale's Ambition. I used to listen to that song over and over, and I wrote one of my first songs to it. And I was just like, yeah. But when I started doing that, I was like, okay, but this is my song, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not stealing this flow, I'm not jacking this vibe, I'm just listening to the beat on repeat type of thing. Like I'm blocking out I'm blocking out all the words just to get to a point of, okay, I hear a dope beat. Because where I came from, producers was slim to none. You know, the YouTube beats wasn't like that, like they are now. So I'm just like, I'm literally just listening to these people, these beats, so I can get that inspiration that comes with the beat. You know what I mean?
Most definitely, most definitely. And you said Tyga and Wale; those are two people who can really rap. You know what I mean? So they can really rap. And you know, Wale, I got a friend. Shout out to Anthony Green Jr. Out of Charleston, South Carolina. One of my best friends. He's Wale is one of his favorite rappers. So to he speak on Wale like that, I definitely can see why, because he's very poetic and he puts his emotions behind his rap. So that makes a difference. And that kind of leads me to my next point. When you're creating a song, and then when it's completed, how do you feel in those two phases?
In all honesty, what I've learned is a song may never be complete, right? But it has to feel done, if that makes sense, right? There's always a tweak you can do here. There's always something you can change, right? And I have a perfectionist attitude. So with me, like my, what's it called? Not my producer, my engineer. Like I would go in the booth, knock it out, come back out to him, and it's like, okay, cool. Let's listen back to it a couple times. Boom. And he would tell me like, dog, you're gonna drive yourself crazy. Because like if I hear something just millisecond off, I'm going back. You gotta change it. Or if I don't like the way I did the flow, going back, gotta change it. If I didn't raise my voice high enough, you feel me, going back, I gotta change it. But then it got to a point where it's just like, you gotta be able to have fun with it, because it ain't a job. This is something that's coming from your heart. So you got to be able to relax into it. You got to be able to like kind of make love to it and not just try to beat it over the head. You're not banging at it with a mallet trying to make it smooth. You got to finesse it. You know what I mean? You got to really get intimate with it, and then it'll flow.
Most definitely. Now, I know that you, in most of your pieces that I hear, you're usually speaking about God. And can you just speak to those who may be unfamiliar with God, or those who understand how his mercy and his grace has really helped them through their life? Can you just speak to them about what does God really mean to you?
Yeah, most definitely. My first song was Morning Sun. That was the first song that I actually got mixed, mastered, produced, and went to the studio and knocked it out. And that song is basically about me struggling with the idea of the differences between who I know God to be and the differences of who people portray God to be, and who misrepresent God. I'll put it to you like that. Whether it be in the church or people doing whatever it is that they're doing, right? This life is just difficult, right? And a lot of times people present God in two different ways, either fire and brimstone, flooding the earth, I'm wiping y'all out, or they try to put it to a point of, grace is everlasting and never fails, and things of that nature. But you have to understand that the Bible in itself is a concept about balance, right? It's about understanding righteousness. It's about understanding how to navigate this world in the best way possible. And that's all God really wants us to do. In all your ways, we're supposed to acknowledge him. So if you're doing something to somebody that you know that if God was physically embodied and stood next to you and you think God wouldn't approve of, you probably shouldn't do it, right? But at the same time, you got to understand that we're human. And that's the dichotomy that a lot of my music pushes out. Like the first verse of Morning Sun is me just airing my grievances. Like, no, I lost somebody that was close to me. I had a childhood friend that crashed into a tree and that was it. You know what I mean? Wrapped around the tree and he's gone. Now you got a father burying his son type of vibes. And then the second verse is like me feeling like, if this is what I am dealing with, then I feel like I could do better. But when you get to that mindset of feeling like you can do better and you can create change, that's when you actually have to put the action in. And that's one of the main reasons why I move the way I move, is because if you feel like you can do better, then do better. If you feel like you can show them a better way, then show them a better way. Because everybody can talk about it, but ain't too many people going to be about it.
You're right about that. You're right about that. Now, seeing that we're outside in nature, how has, if it has, nature affected your writing, or just being able to get the a breath of fresh air from, you know, the day-to-day work day or maybe other stresses that can come into your life? How has nature played a part into that?
I'm gonna keep it a bean. Uh, one of the greatest poetic devices to use is personification. But if you don't experience life and actually get out here in nature and in this world, you'll never be able to see that there's a gentle drop of rain falling down. Rain isn't gentle, but you gave it a human characteristic, you know what I mean? Or when the wind blows, the trees applaud it like a conductor is moving its arms. Like, you have to be able to be out in nature to even be able to draw these certain conclusions. So that's how it helps in my writing, is because I can see things differently. You know what I mean? I can put it metaphorically. I can change something and it still convey an idea. The second portion is being outside in God's creation without technology and all of that stuff. You get to experience like life as it should be. You know what I mean? Like life at the ground roots level of, okay, everything is here. You know what I mean? Like nature is working in tune. It may seem chaotic to somebody else, but the reality is when you outside, all of it is working in harmony. And then the third thing is it's a great way for me, because I work from home. So it's a great way for me to distinguish, okay, the end of my workday and transition into, okay, this is my home. This is my place of peace. This is where I can be creative. This is where I can relax. And a lot of my ideas actually come from me being out in nature and being on walks and stuff like that.
Man, that sounds good. I actually started getting more into nature after, 2020, which the whole world knows what happened that year. And it really helped me because it was things I was kind of challenged with, and just be able to let your lungs breathe and be able to look at the sun and let the sun just shine on you, even when you're going through your rough days. Like you mentioned, man, it brings that balance, and that's what we need. And so with everything that you've gone through and being able to perform, have you had like a family member or a supporter from when you got off stage that came up to you and either gave you some advice or just anything that just made your day?
I mean, honestly, this might sound weird, but when I get on stage, I zone out. I zone completely out. It's just me and the music, and my goal is to execute, right? I'm up there and it's just like dancing with somebody I love, you know what I mean? So everybody in the room is not there. I'm in my own world, just outside. So when I come down from the stage and I do get people that come up to me, like I have to take a hot second to allow that to register, because I'm still up here with it. You know what I mean? Like in my mind, I'm still like, yes, that was great. I got to do my purpose type of vibes. But yeah, I've had plenty of people that come up and they're like, dog, what you said was crazy. Or they catch a line that they feel like nobody else caught, and they come up to me and they're explaining my own metaphors to me and stuff like that. I'm like, my people, my tribe. And even yourself, sir, you came up to me after one of my performances and was like, look, all of this is available to do. All of this is here. All you have to do is get outside and go do it. And like, that was a good motivator to me. And that's why, like, anytime that you put something out, man, I'm always going to respond. Anytime you ask for me to come do an interview, I'm there. It don't matter. I'm there.
I got you. And I mean, like I said, I've seen you live in person, and you definitely make it seem like, hey, you in your zone and ain't nobody going to get you out of that. So I definitely concur. With somebody that performs and somebody that, speaks highly of God, do you feel like there's been more of a push by the enemy to bring doubt your way or bring certain things your way that you had to kind of throw it off? Like, have you noticed that?
Most definitely, bro. When I actually zoned out and like was like, okay, this is the direction I'm going. Like I don't wrote like 300, 400, 500 songs. Like, you feel me? Just going at it, working at the pen every day type of vibes. And then you have to go through those and see, okay, well, which one actually fits the direction that I'm trying to travel, right? And once I actually locked in and I zoned out and I actually got my first album, the first 13 songs that I wanted on my album, it was a situation of, okay, I locked in on that point, stop messing with the girls, you feel me? Stop messing with the ladies, excuse me. Stop messing with the ladies and doing the wrong thing, you know what I mean? Like leading them towards, disaster and ruin. And then it was like directly after I made that mental decision of I'm going to walk right, bro, I lost my job. I lost a 6-figure job. I was making like altogether, maybe like 140, something like that. Lost it. Then, even then, when I got hired at somewhere else, they ended up a situation from my past came up and it knocked me out of that position. So then, right after that, I lost my car. So it was like, this is all confirmation. This is the battles that God tells you that we're going to fight, that Jesus tells you that we're going to fight, because when you make the decision to actually walk in your purpose, the devil don't want you doing that, especially something like as vocal as music. That's his domain, or this the domain that he tries to tread in the most. So when you say, nah, I'm reclaiming this and this is my spot, even though I may not always be, the perfect shining beacon, but when you step back into your purpose and stuff like that, devil don't like that, man. Devil don't like that. He gonna send your exes your way to try to get you off your pivot. He gonna try to send alcohol your way, whatever it is that he know that you might have a predisposition, a vice towards. He's sending it your way just to get you distracted, bro. Just to get you distracted, because the last thing he wants you to do is to actually be doing what you're supposed to do.
You're right about that. You're right about that. I mean, vices has taken a lot of people out of here because they just didn't know that, hey, there's a better route than what you're taking. And I appreciate you saying all that. And I've seen recently you posted a video and it was titled "I'm Good." And can you go into that a little bit, about why'd you name it that, and then how has that affected you after writing that?
I mean, ironically, I wrote that poem. I was on my way back from Atlanta. Me and my friend, we had went to the One Music Fest, and like I actually saw Kendrick Lamar on stage, and he was performing, his latest album. And I was like, first time I listened to the album, it didn't connect. But the more I started to go through life and stuff like that, and like seeing it live, it connected. And like for me, it was a situation of like, I had an ex that was low key using me for money. The new girl I'm talking to is seeming like she moving in the same direction. So I'm like, why I keep meeting the same person? So that was the closest thing right there. And then the second thing that was happening is like my babies was like getting taken away from me. The mom was like, oh yeah, we're gonna move out of state. And I'm like, bro, I just moved from South Carolina to Virginia to be in my kid's life. And you telling me that ain't gonna work? Okay, right. So the first verse of that is basically just me speaking on like how I felt as a father. It's like, it is really hard to sit back and go through your day to day and just pretend like don't nothing bother you, to pretend like you good. And the reality is you struggling with stuff that you'll never tell nobody. And it's like, you see so many fathers repeat the same thing and they'll keep telling you, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, until all you got is a dead man in a casket, or until all you got is a suicide note to remember about your dad. So that's the first verse. And the second verse is more so going into people's misunderstanding of money, because people will sit up there and make you believe like you ain't got no cares in the world because you making six figures. And that ain't true, bro. There's some problems money don't fix. And some of these battles that we fighting are inside our brains, and you can't escape that until you actually go heal. And the third verse is more in regards to the women that I was using as my coping mechanism and stuff like that, to a point where it was just like, oh, I'm seeking validation from you. And I feel like I can easily get you to move some type of way because of this money, right? And the reality is, it don't never keep them, bro. The only bit of love that is ever going to always be present is God's love. And everything outside of that is like dust in the wind.
Yeah. That's one thing I've noticed. I mean, you can try to seek validation. You can do everything that you feel is going to keep people around you. But at the same time, if you're not really facing, that person that you see in the mirror and dealing with those things, like you saying, it's going to come back up again. So you got to make that change, and you got to want to have a better life and have that balance, like you've been saying, this whole interview. So do you have anything coming up that, the listeners and the viewers should be on the lookout for?
I have like I said, I have a play that's coming out. It's going to be on June 23rd. I'm going to get that filmed also, so you guys will be able to see it. It's I'm low-key on my Eddie Murphy. It's me, and me. All right, I done produced it. I wrote it, and I'm starring in it, and I'm doing all the roles. You know what I mean? So that's one of the big things that I'm working on. And my album is technically done. I just have to get it mixed, mastered, and do some revisions on it, and that'll be coming out soon. More just releases of music and things of that nature. More on the digital art side, and I will be filming other artists in their element. I got another young artist. That reached out to me and was like, "Hey, man, if you can film me or do whatever, like, yeah, he got a vision for it, he got a location. I'm down. I'm always down to help people with any type of artistic endeavor. You hit me up. You hit me up on Instagram, whatever. My DMs is open. Let me know. I'll help you out as best as I can. And if I can't help you out, I'll direct you in the path to somewhere else. Somebody else can help you."
Yeah, most definitely. And before we close out, would you like to leave, what I would call a message to the world? You got any message you would like to lead to the world?
Be yourself in all shapes, forms, and fashions. Be yourself, the good, the bad, the negative, right? Because the more you try to hold parts of yourself back, you're inhibiting your ability to actually change, right? So even if you're doing something negative, cool, acknowledge that it's negative and then you can change it. But if you just keep trying to hold back portions of yourself, then you'll never get to a point of, oh, I need to change this, because all you're doing is inhibiting yourself. Be yourself as much as you can on the positive side too, because the reality behind it is people need to see your light. And everybody got something that's very unique about them. Everybody got something that is their purpose, and you need to follow that. And if you don't know what it is, read your Bible, hit your knees, pray, do whatever it is that you need to do to reach the higher power that is God, to understand Jesus, to understand how you're supposed to move and maneuver through this world. You ain't gonna be perfect, but we can be precise. So just move that way. Because I'm not perfect. I get slick at the mouth every now and again, but the reality is you still gotta understand you're a human, but you made by God.
Well, again, I appreciate you being on here. I appreciate, everything that you had to say. And I want to say this real quick for anyone out there that feel like there's just a majority of men who don't want to do anything they can for their kids. This is a prime example right here in front of your screen of somebody that's willing to move another state to be close to his kids. So be able to give the same grace that you will want on yourself. And I'm speaking towards women. Make sure you also giving that to men, because there's men out here like Robert, who is willing to do anything he can for himself and the betterment of seeing his dreams come true, but also for his kids and his family. So y'all just remember that. And with that being said, this has been another edition of a Crazy Life Podcast. Harness your gift. Until next time, thank you so much, everybody. Peace.
So, the reality behind this is just speaking on my thoughts, an individual realizing what I want love to look like. But it's much better to speak it to somebody else. So, thank you, Mr. Timmy Davis.
Get down with the get down. Yeah.
Alright, so look. I just want to vibe with you. Interlock minds with you. Hold your spine and maybe lock eyes with you. Drop a few dimes with you. Dip tea, sip wine, and wobble juice. See plays and press for wine with you. See if I'm inclined to recline with you. At peace, close eyes and snooze. Decline between thighs prizes to see if I'm actually aligned with you. Meditate, pray, and read lines with you. Motivate, educate, and define the truth. See, the way I'm supposed to move, when marriage is my pursuit, forever together with a woman, I find a roof. But I'm trying to have more cash stashed than a Boaz and keep our union honest and true. See, I know God don't hold favors, but I feel like he took his time with you. Patience, grace, and every line he drew. From your cheekbones to your skin tone.
Come on now.
The hair is homegrown. To your flair and your glow.
Shit, you might get lucky.
Your smile blooms and dimples show. But I'm sure there was love in each stroke. In the masterpiece that he composed. Thank you.
All right, bro.
Allow us to lead together, don't ask no questions.
ask no questions. Give it up for my man Rob the writer.